Hey guys, Retro Gaming Guy here. So today in this video, we're going to unbox, demo, and review the Miyoo Mini A30 handheld video game console. Let's dive into it. Let's see what it has to offer. All right, so we've got this carrying case that everything comes inside of. It is a hard shell carrying case, which is nice. Let's go ahead and unzip this, take a look inside. So before we actually dive into the handheld, which is obviously sitting right here, let's go through some of the accessories that come along with this. So we have a power supply cable to this. This is how you're going to charge your device. USB-C to USB-A over here. So A is going to go into your power outlet if it supports that, or you can plug it into your computer, laptop, whatever the case may be. You charge right over and you'll connect the Type-C side to the actual handheld. So we'll set that aside. Right here we have a Type-C to audio jack, it looks like. So that's pretty cool. We'll go ahead and take a look. We've got our micro SD card. So this is going to be where your games are. And I believe this is just a one micro SD card handheld here. So your OS and your games all on one card. And again, 64 gigabytes here. It does look to be just a generic one. It has no branding on here. So I do always recommend taking these and backing them up onto like a SanDisk or Samsung just for some more reliability on there. Let's go ahead and take out the actual handheld itself. We do have a user manual behind here as well. Thumb through this really quick. It's in a couple different languages and basically walks through all of your different port options, your button configurations, tells you where everything is located on here, how to power it on, how to power it off, firmware update, all that good stuff. So pretty thorough. Go ahead and put all this back in here. We shouldn't need that right now. Hopefully this came with enough charge to at least dive into it. So let's take a look at the actual handheld. So, all right, here we have our setup. Now this is a 2.8-inch IPS screen right here, which is pretty nice. We're gonna have to obviously check out the resolution once we fire this up, but we have standard 4-button configuration. I like the retro feel to this. We've got A, B, X, and Y over here. Start and select down here. Speaker located in the bottom right corner. Now on the left side, we have our D-pad. We also have an analog stick. It does have the button function. I'm not sure what games are included on here, but we'll find out momentarily. Now up here at the top, we have our L1, L2, R1, and R2 shoulder and trigger buttons located right over here. They do seem to be laid out very nicely. Great action on both. We have our volume control here, Type-C port. We have a home button right here, which I assume we use as a hotkey function for some emulators in order to back out from a game, back over to the main menu. And what else do we have on the sides? We just have one power button over here. So that's going to be on the right-hand side if you're looking at the screen side of this. And nothing on the back side. Down here at the bottom, we have our TF slot. So that's where our micro SD card is going to go. We'll go ahead and insert that in right now. So let's see. Which way does it go? All right, so the 64 gigabyte graphic is going to face U. So that's how it slides in. You can see it clicks into place. It is recessed in there nicely. So it's relatively challenging to actually push that in to eject it, which is good. You don't want to just bump that and have it eject. That will end up, if you do it multiple times, I promise you end up corrupting your card. So you don't want to run the risk of that. And we don't, the way that it's recessed in like that. So all in all, seems like a pretty decent feel to this. It does seem to be stable in my hands, just kind of messing around with the buttons, obviously without having powered this on yet, but very comfortable, safe and secure, lightweight. Screen is very small, but we'll see what the picture quality is like on here. I believe since this is all retro gaming on here, we should get a nice 4:3 aspect ratio going on, which is the true aspect ratio for anything that you would be playing on here, except for PSP, if that's even included. I'm not sure that it is. So, yeah. Looks to be pretty good. Let's go ahead and hold our power button. Oops, this one over here. Just by default want to go to the top of this, but power's over there, so it flashes the Miyoo logo, and it's going to load up, and we'll let it do its thing and take it from there. All right, guys, so here we are, and we've got, first off, as we load into this, we'll have our recent collection first, so that'll give you up to 50 of your last titles you've jumped into. Next is favorites. That's going to be a collection that you put together yourself. Add all your favorite games there for easy access. We have game over here. We have RetroArch, so you can go in and make some different settings adjustments to emulators and whatnot. We have apps over here, and then we have settings. So if you go into settings, you can go in here, you can change your brightness. It's currently on 10 out of 10, so it's at its brightest setting. You can change the colors, language, calibration, joypad test, key map. You have Wi-Fi on here too, which is cool. Volume control, which you could do externally with the buttons up here at the top, or go in here and tackle everything within. We have themes that you could choose from as well. We should have a bunch of themes in here. So we have all these different themes to choose from. So I'll switch it just for the sake of showing you that you can in fact do that. Let's go to, I'm not familiar with any of these. Slam Dunk sounds cool. Let's go into Slam Dunk. All right, cool. I don't like it. Let me get out of that. All right, so I didn't like that. I changed it to what's called Game Master here. So we'll back out. So we have some different icons in here, and you can customize this. There's a ton of different themes in here, but yeah, I didn't like that one that we just randomly switched it to. So let's go into game. That's going to be where all of our game collections are within. So we kick it all off with what should say arcade, but it's actually spelled ADRCAE. So yeah, I'm not really sure what went on there, but definitely wouldn't be anything other than arcade. Let's jump in and see. Yeah, Capcom System 1, 2, 3, FB Neo, Hacks, and then Polygame Master, BIOS, so System BIOS. So let's jump into, and nothing's scraped here, it's just purely a text list, but 51 titles for Capcom System 1. And I noticed there are some hacks in here. ROM Hack 1. So you're going to get some extra titles in here based on the fact that they're including hacks in here as well. Capcom System 2, 35 titles. That's on point. 7 for Capcom System 3. FB Neo, 139 games in here. And we'll go through here, just kind of comb through this briefly. Not a lot of, I mean, there's some good stuff in here. Saw Sonic Boom there. Street Fighter 2. Now, this isn't MAME, so I would imagine, just because I'm used to this, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, I love that game. I would imagine that because we're in here and we're just in FB Neo, we're going to have a lot of overflow between this and MAME. So we'll go back out, and I did notice that MAME is down here. So we probably will have duplicates between those two collections. Over here, it says DC, which is Dreamcast, and we have just 7 games. We've got Cosmic Smash, we've got Crazy Taxi 1 and 2, Gauntlet Legends, my all-time favorite game. We've got House of the Dead 2, which, I mean, it's an awesome game. I love it. It's one of my favorites, in fact. But to play that on something like this, I mean, I can't see, playing a light gun game being fun on, a small, compact handheld like this. Even if these are the greatest controls in the world, it's just, who wants to play a light gun game, in this capacity? But cool to have it, I suppose. We've got Marvel vs. Capcom 2. That's a good title. Yeah, so I'd like to see more games on here, but of course we got to make sure that the performance is good enough to effectively emulate those. We've got FC over here, which is going to be family computer. So 695 games in here. We've got Contras up there at the top. I'm going up through the back end of the list here. So we're in the S's right now. So it's going to be a lot of foreign releases because it's family computer, but we should have, some of our favorite titles in here as well. Now, all that being said, it looks like it cycles through alphabetical order 2 times, so maybe it's combining a bunch of other titles into the mix, like Untouchables is a cool game too. We've got some Simpsons in here. Punisher is a great title. Now, these should not be hard to emulate at all. Let's see if we've got any Mario titles up here, because sometimes they'll leave off, believe it or not, Mario games, because obviously Mario's a Nintendo title, and sometimes they don't want to, pick that fight. So yeah, I'm not seeing any Mario here. Although, I guess we could go down to S, right? Super Mario. That would probably make more sense. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything here either. Okay. We'll check some of the other, we got Star Wars in here though, so there are some great titles. We'll go in here and check out, we've got Game Boy, so we've got Donkey Kong Land. All right, so they're not worried about Nintendo then. And I would imagine we're going to have some Mario titles in here, when considering that Donkey Kong's here. So let's double check that, because everybody's going to want to have access to, those Mario titles. So 405 total games for Game Boy, which is, I mean, it's a pretty solid collection, to say the least. What about it? All right, so I'm not seeing anything in here for Mario. And maybe for Game Boy, is Game Boy Color even in here? Let's see. I'm not seeing Game Boy Color. So we've got Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. I mean, we've got Pokemon in here. Let's see if there's any. We don't see if there's anything Mario related in here either. Yeah, there's not. That's interesting. Okay. All right. So in total, there's 909 Game Boy Advance games. We're going to keep it moving, though. We've got MAME over here, 412. And that's interesting that they're scraped. So we have cover art or logos, box art, combination of all three in some cases. Obviously, box art, it's going to actually have, like, in some cases, it's not actually a box, obviously, for something like this, but it's going to be like the manual cover in some cases. So I always get people that say, "Hey, there's no boxes for arcade games." No, but we call it box art because it's basically the manual cover for the actual arcade cabinets back in the day. So it looks like there's some pretty solid titles in here. And I do see some titles that were in the other collection. So I would venture to say that let's go down to Michael Jackson for Moonwalker, and let's see if that has, going the wrong way, see if that's in here, because that'll tell us if there are duplicates between this and the other collection. Yeah, it's abbreviated here, so it's not spelled out, but yeah, Moonwalker, or Moonwalk B. Yeah, I don't love when things are kind of abbreviated or whatever. It's the file names in some cases, but yeah, there's some great titles in here. NBA Jam, another great one. Continuing on, we have Mega Drive from Sega. So we've got Sonic 1, 2, and 3. So yeah, they do abbreviate titles sometimes, but there's 635 Mega Drive games in here, which is cool. Next over, we have N64. That's pretty sweet. So we have Bomber. Yeah, they're abbreviating titles here, like Hot American Football 2001, 2002, 2099. So Hot American Football is not going to be NFL Blitz, just based on the years there. Like there was no Blitz for 2002. So that's going to be the Madden titles there. We've got Mario Party 2. So there are some Mario games here. Interesting. Mario Racing Car 64. So they've taken some liberties there. Why they don't just say Mario Kart 64? I mean, does that alleviate any copyright issues? No. Super Mario 64. Yeah, I mean, that one's on point. Ridge Racer 64. All right, so we're going to jump into some demos here. I want to see how this can handle everything, but I definitely want to comb through everything first to give you an idea of what's, really included on here. So Neo Geo, we got 151 games, so you can find your Metal Slugs in here among all your classic Neo Geo titles. Neo Geo Pocket, 39 games in there. PC Engine, 77 games in here. We've got PPSSPP, which is the PSP emulator. Just 7 games inside here, and most of these don't appear to be demanding titles, with the exception of Ridge Racer. That one is definitely demanding, so we'll test that out and see what the experience is like here as well to gauge performance. PlayStation 1, we've got 36 games. So Tekken 3, my favorite, Resident Evil 3, Crash Bash, Crash Bandicoot 2 and 3, Dino Crisis, we've got Silent Hill, some Digimon World, Dino Crisis 1, we've got Driver 2, Gran Turismo, some Harry Potter, some Marvel games in here, Marvel vs. Capcom, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, Medal of Honor Underground, Mortal Kombat Trilogy, some more Resident Evil, Spider-Man, Tomb Raider, Twisted Metal here. Yeah, good stuff. All right, we've got Super Famicom. All right, so we've got Donkey Kong Country, and these are scraped as well. So that's interesting that they just kind of randomly will scrape stuff. Some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and there's 1498 in here, so that's massive. Let's see if we have any Mario titles in here. We've got Kirby, we've got Donkey Kong. So, I mean, at that rate, just put some Mario games in here, right? And it's weird that it cycles through. Like, yeah, they were in alphabetical order, but then it like restarts down here, and we have another alphabetical order starting over. So it's strange the way that they've done that. Maybe they're breaking it up between like Super Nintendo and Super Famicom. I'm not really sure what's going on there. It's just a kind of a weird layout, but it is what it is. So we're going to go down to M, and then we'll go down to S as well. And we'll see if there's anything Mario related. Yeah, so definitely nothing that says Mario. So it may be under S for Super Mario. So it goes from SU, SW, and then SA. So yeah, it's just like a weird cycling of alphabetical order. It's just very strange. So Super Bomberman. If we have Super Mario, it would be down here. You get Super Metroid, but no Super Mario. It's so weird that they're leaving that out. I get it if they want to leave it out, but then they have Donkey Kong, they have Kirby, like, I don't know. Strange. Okay, well, whatever. I mean, still a lot of great games in here, but it is what it is. Sega Master System. Inside Sega Master System, we have nothing. I didn't mess that up. No, there's nothing. Nothing in Sega Master. So why have it in there? Yeah, it's just not the best sort of setup. We have shooting games in here, so this is kind of like a 183 shooting games. So this is like a category, which would include a lot of different types of games. And then we have Wonder Swan Color in here with 70 games. So, all right, cool. We've got decent selections. It's weird that they've left out some really key parts to this. So let's jump in here. We'll test out the performance on a bunch of different games and game collections to really gauge the performance of this handheld.
Save keys to open doors and chests. Some barrels contain weapons. Fire amulet. Extra speed. Round one. Fight.
All right, guys, so the Miyoo Mini A30 handheld game console, not a bad console in the end. So this is priced at just $55 and change, depending on where you're getting it from. Now, I'll provide you guys with a link at the top of your screen, as well as in the description of this video, so you can click over, check out what it offers, what their current price point is, because prices do fluctuate sometimes on a daily basis, it seems. But all that being said, is it worth it in my opinion? It depends, honestly. It's not my favorite handheld by any means, but at $55, it's definitely the most budget friendly or within the realm of the most budget friendly options out there for handhelds. I like the Miyoo Mini company. They've made some really great handhelds. I like the Miyoo Mini Plus to be specific. I do find that to be a little bit better than this in all honesty. This definitely has, a compact setup. The buttons are very nice on here. The D-pad's pretty on point. I'm not crazy about the analog stick. I feel like actually when I go left to like in that north west sort of range. So whenever I'm going up this direction, it seems to be a little shoddy up there. Everywhere else, it seems to be pretty on point and accurate. But for some reason, when I go left or up and between left, it just seems to be a little bit funny there with navigations, whether I'm in like a racing game, a fighting game, just an arcade game. It just seems like that direction seems to get a little bit stuck. So I'm not crazy about the analog sticks. It's just very small. It's also low profile, which is good and bad. It's good in that if you take a look at it from this angle, I'll try to get this in focus for you guys. You can see that it barely comes up above the surface of this. So that's great in that it's not going to get snagged on things. It's not going to, if you drop this, it's not going to get damaged easily. But it does limit your range of motion on there when you're, placing your thumb and you're trying to navigate that way. So if you pay close attention to how I gamed on here today, I was mostly using the D-pad because I just found that to be a little bit easier to navigate. A, B, X, and Y, they're pretty much on point. I had no issues there. Start and select's good. The shoulder and trigger button placement's pretty decent. Can be, I suppose, if you have really big hands, it can be really tough on something small like this, but I didn't really have an issue with that at all. The sound quality is pretty good. There are some titles where I noticed that the sound's a little bit distorted. When I played Sonic, for example, I noticed that at some points in Sonic, the audio seems to almost lag a little bit. The gameplay experience did not lag, but the audio did seem to get out of whack ever so slightly here and there. I don't expect it to be a flawless performance here with games, but yeah, there's definitely some here where it's very limited. And we saw with Ridge Racer here for PSP, it's just totally not able to handle that effectively at all. It's just not a good experience there. You can go into your settings, you can make some adjustments. It's still not perfect though. So I wouldn't get this if you're looking for like high-end PSP emulation. Even Dreamcast we saw with Crazy Taxi 2. It was honestly a mess, but Gauntlet Legends in Dreamcast was perfect. There was no issues there whatsoever. So very hit or miss. N64, there's not a lot of titles to really choose from in here, but Mario Kart 64, I forget what they called it, wasn't that, but in there, we had no issues at all with Mario Kart 64. It was very smooth gameplay. I won't say that probably all N64 games are going to perform perfectly, but what they provided on here were pretty basic games that are not that hard to emulate. So it just depends what you're looking for. If you try to kick it up considerably, you may run into issues where games just underperform ever so slightly. So yeah, there's a lot of variables at play here. Classic Arcade was pretty good for the most part. There are some titles that are more demanding than others, so you may have some setbacks here and there. But at $55, I definitely don't think it's a bad setup. The arcade being misspelled, some of the games being abbreviated, or like the file names are being used rather than the full title of the games are being used. So like the setup, it is what it is for a generic sort of plug and play option that comes along with your setup. I think the best route to take here is to either duplicate the card that you get, so back it up, and then tweak it. Edit it to include what you want. You can add games, you can remove games, you can tweak the settings. You can make it your own setup by, obviously customizing what's already present here, or you can go ahead and just make your own build for this entirely. Plus, you're not going to have that generic branded card either. You're going to have probably a Samsung or a SanDisk, which are much more reliable, and they have better performance as well. So yeah, you can definitely get into this and have a good experience. It just at the end depends on what you're looking for in terms of game collections, games, and how you want to go about trying to better it. Because as it comes here, it gets you started, but I don't think that it's the high-end experience that most people are probably looking for. You could probably get a more high-end handheld for maybe $20, $25 more. going a different route. And you can even stay within Miyoo as well. You can go with the Miyoo Mini Plus, which I liked better personally, but to each their own. Some people are going to like this sort of layout and design more so than that vertical setup of the Miyoo Mini Plus. So let me know in the comments what you guys think of this handheld game console. Do you think it's worth 55 bucks? Do you like the layout and design? Do you like what's included on here? And do you like the performance? Let me know in the comments of this video. You guys know the deal though. Click the link in the description of the video to get some additional information on the handheld itself. If you enjoyed the content today, please give me a thumbs up on the video, and of course hit subscribe right here on the Retro Gaming Guy YouTube channel in order to stay in the loop for all future videos. Thanks for your watching. Thanks for your support. I'll see you on the next video.